Hey, do you ever have the thing happen where one of your siblings who really has no ability to actually do anything to you still managed to get you in trouble by ratting you out? Look, I have/had wonderful siblings. I don't say had because one of them turned unwonderful. My little brother stupidly got killed in a car accident, which is just the lousiest because he was great and I miss him, and it would have been better if he hadn't been killed in a car accident. That said, with time you come to peace with things, and I miss him. And even though I miss him, I still have to acknowledge that little weasel knew how to get me in trouble sometimes. And my sister, who is also wonderful, she used this trick too. They would get back at their older brother by catching me in something that I shouldn't have done and then being like, hey, do the thing that I want you to do, or I'm telling mom and dad. And I'd be like, that is a weasel move. You can't do that. And they're like, I'm telling them. Well, they had me because I really did do something wrong, but it was a little weasel puke move. And then my brother or my sister, they go to mom and dad. They'd be like, I just have some real concerns about my older brother's behavior. He did something he shouldn't have done. Matthew, coming. And I go up there and there's my mom and dad. And they're like, hey, pull up a seat. I want to talk to you for a minute. Okay. And I sit down and I notice they're not dismissing my brother or my sister or both. They just get to stand there with this smug look on their face. I'm like, hey, your brother here tells me that you were just doing this thing and this other thing. Is that true? Yes, but, well, no, hold on. If you did that, that's not right. And we need to speak to what that says about your character. And in my heart, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, my character is very important. I agree. But also look at that little weasel. Look what he's doing. How can you not see this? This is blackmail. Punish him. Do something. In other words, I was physically incapable of remaining silent while my kids' siblings leveled accusations against me under the careful, watchful protection of my parents, knowing that my parents were the only one who could really dish out any punishment to me because they couldn't get away with it themselves. Likewise, in Matthew 27, that's the kind of thing that's happening here. The religious leadership, they're the ones who have to gripe with Jesus. I mean, the Pilate, he doesn't care. He's worried about other stuff. He's trying not to get fired, beheaded, like what happened to his buddy Sejanus back in Rome. He knows Tiberius doesn't like him very much. He doesn't want to bother with any of this stupid Jewish stuff, whatever. But then the religious leaders are like, we're going to get you in trouble with Pilate. And so they bring Jesus over to Pilate after super sneaky, late night, early morning, under cover of darkness trial. And this is what happens. Verse 11. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Yes, it is as you say," Jesus replied. When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, "Do you hear the testimony they're bringing against you?" But Jesus made no reply, not even a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the part of this is mind-blowing and important and very fulfilling for Matthew 27, and then I want to get back to complaining about my brother who is now dead and I should not be complaining about because I miss him so very dearly, but he still shouldn't have been a puke when we were tiny kids and ratted me out to my parents. Are you the king of the Jews? He gets asked directly in the same way that Jesus got asked directly, literally one page earlier in my Bible, where in Matthew 26, Caiaphas the high priest said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." And Jesus says, "Yes, it is as you say." That is his answer. Now he is being asked a different question. You'll notice the question asked in 26 by Caiaphas is the question of greatest concern for Caiaphas. And I'm the mediator between God and men. Jesus can't be the mediator. There can be only one. Like, tell me, are you this? Are you the Son of God? Are you the Christ? Are you the Messiah? And so Caiaphas is pressing hard for an answer to his biggest concern. And therefore we learn something about his heart and motivations. And now one page later in 27, Pilate is pressing Jesus very hard for something that drives at his biggest point of concern. And resultantly, just by looking in the two questions and contrasting them, we get a sense of where Pilate's heart is at and what's on his mind. We also get a little bit of a sense of how the high priests pitched the whole claim of Jesus. They didn't theologically nuance it to Pilate and be like, all right, you got to understand the whole king thing. It's not a threat in the way you think it is. There are a lot of spiritual levels to this, and you got to understand a lot about like Judaism. No, they didn't do that. They just went right to, this word will scare you and upset you. Like, are you saying that I mean, he's king of the Jews, which, okay, like that's what the Messiah would be, right? It's a long promised king from the line of David, but it's not really exactly how Jesus answered their question. They're selectively theologically extrapolating it for the benefit, or rather to create consternation in the mind of Pilate. So Jesus is standing before the governor, and the governor asks him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus gives the exact same answer. "Yes, it is as you say." And remember back here, "Tell us, are you the Christ, the Son of God?" Matthew 26. "Yes, it is as you say." Identical. So I think if my math is right here, that is the third "you have said so," or "it is as you say," that Jesus has thrown out in as many pages. Yeah, same deal back here with Judas. 3 pages, 3 "you have said it so." I don't think that can be an accident. But then we come back to that thing that we were dealing with before, where Jesus doesn't even want to defend himself in front of these people. They're bringing ludicrous accusations. The whole thing is a joke. Jesus understands exactly what the dance steps are here for this farce, and he isn't playing along. Now, all of these chief priests and elders, these are people who Jesus has roundly dismissed as recently as Matthew 23 as being the people who killed the prophets, or the ones who are guilty of the blood of all of the righteous from Abel to Zechariah, son of Berechiah. These are the people that Jesus is ignoring right now, who in Matthew 23, he said that they would kill and crucify some of the people God would send. They would flog in the synagogues. Others, he knows who they are. He called them a brood of vipers. He gets exactly what they're doing. He's not even dignifying it by playing along, which I think is kind of rad. But also, the scenario does feel like that sibling thing, right? Like you had siblings, right? Who you love as much as I love my siblings. But all of those nice things said about our siblings who we love, at times they were a bit of a thorn in our side, and we were probably a bit of a thorn in their side. And you can just picture this scene. All of the religious leadership who despise the government of Rome, they're playing along. They're trying to use Rome to get what they want right now. That's their meal ticket toward power. But they have no love for Pontius Pilate any more than they have love for Judas Iscariot one passage earlier. They're just chameleons, and they act however they need to act in any environment. And they're bringing all of these very judicious concerns that need to be articulated clearly. This is a threat to the very foundations of who we are as a people. And that's something we truly care about. We don't just say things like that to maintain or increase power. I mean, good heavens. Jesus knows what they're doing, and they know that he knows what they're doing, but they're going to go through all of this theater anyway. The odd man out who's just baffled is Pontius Pilate. He's done a lot of trials like this. He knows how people are and how people scramble and beg for their lives and say a bunch of words. And maybe in there somewhere, like when you file an insurance claim, if you just say the right phrase, it's like, oh, there you go. You said the phrase. Well, now you're convicted. Or, oh, there you go. You said that phrase. That's an acknowledgement of this. Now you get your thing paid for. That's what Pilate is accustomed to. But what do you do with somebody who doesn't even play ball? What do you do when they just stand silent before their accusers, as was predicted in the Old Testament? Pilate doesn't know. And we see in Matthew's account, as well as the others, that Pilate's going to be like, hey, are you just dumb? Do you not get the exercise? Do you not understand what my job is? Like the outfit and the palace, it's really nice. Like at the guards and everything. Like, see how they keep doing all the things I say? Like I'm in charge of stuff. And it's funny because the tone Pilate takes on these pages and in the other Gospels indicates that Pilate feels like he has to explain the thing. And the lower ranking Roman, the centurion back from 8, there was no explaining needed. He's like, I know a man with power when I see it, and you are a man who is in charge and has command. And maybe that centurion would have been better suited to be the governor of Judea than Pontius Pilate. But despite all of that, it says Jesus made no reply. It doesn't matter that his ethnic siblings are in the room tattling on him and smugly smiling every time Pilate looks away because they're so happy they got him in trouble. He still makes no reply, not even to a single charge, and the governor is amazed by this. There are so many things about Jesus of Nazareth that are just weird in compelling ways. You put me in this situation, you're talking about 10 out of 10 that pushes my buttons when my siblings would do that. Oh, I can barely contain myself. I'm so irritated with your sibling behavior. Yet somehow Jesus just stands here and takes it, only nodding and affirming with one simple phrase that, the accusation they're bringing is right. Yeah, it's as you say, I'm the King of the Jews. And we need to look a little more closely at that particular affirmation next time around, but I got excited about the whole sibling thing. Mark, Kendra, I'm only needling you. You're the best siblings I could ever possibly ask for. I love you both so much. Mark, I miss you. See you soon. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.